And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. And I'm your host, Pastor David. And folks, this is All Out Friday. I got a special guest, and we got some things to talk about, man. I think it's a crying shame of how the justice system seems to always never get true justice. So, folks, if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know you're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David, and let's get it on to the truth. Friday Night Live, ain't no job. Right here at TECN TV, and I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in.
Hope you got an extra mic and a fireproof booth, cause you know I'm known to melt a wire too. You need a fire engineer when I lay this blaze. I melt down tracks, stacks, reels, and slaves. Hit the studio, jars and bars to blow. DC go
Friday night, y'all, come on.
Flow.
Right here.
Don't hold me back.
TECNTV.com. And I'm your host, Pastor David.
Y'all don't realize y'all released the beast untamed. Speech all flame, streets y'all blame. It should be an honor for y'all to speak my name. I could go before your honor couldn't beat my game. Gotta laugh, don't act like you spit it the same. Why you can't get in the game?
Friday Night Live, ain't no time.
And go straight
right
to the
here at TECNTV.com. And I'm your host, Pastor David.
Every time I step in a booth, I speak the truth.
That's all
y'all
we
know
do is
what I'm
speak the
bringing to you. I bring the truth. DC. Y'all know who I be. I be the truth when I speak. Sell such
Friday Night Live.
the truth. Every time I step in the booth,
right
I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you. I bring the truth. DC. Y'all know who I be. I be the truth when I speak. Sell stuck in the kitchen. So what I'm saying, that's fine. Still stuck in position. Know me well. Couple court cases from jail. Couple shells from hell. Stuck on this mission.
Friday night.
My girl fussing.
And if you ain't got nothing to do,
won't you change your life?
sit back
I'm thinking,
and get you a brew or two.
won't I change my
or whatever that
ignorant.
you do. Another
The rap. It's just another hustle. Another way for to touch you. Now they know the face it beams. Now they see my face on screens. And I ain't even chased this dream. I feel sorry for those things. Can't stop
Sit
the
back
war.
and get you a
Whether
glass of
rock or
wine.
roll, I'm
It's
swinging
prime time.
in a rock for law.
And let us put something
No
on your
block
mind.
more.
Friday Night Live, ain't no job.
Rock
TECNTV.com on.
It's true. Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you. I bring the truth. See, y'all know who I be. I
Right
be
here.
the truth. When I speak, self set you free. The truth. Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you. I bring the truth. See, y'all know who I be. I be the truth. When I speak, self set you free. Friday
Friday
management
Night
and
Live.
rocks the label. And I
You can
still
catch us at rumble.com.
this fatal. That
David Lowe
best can't stay.
1057 is
I
the
had
channel.
died.
Y'all come on in, share it
Open you
around.
up from chest to navel. See my face on cable and have flashbacks of that cold table and the I gave you. I'm that'll come and pour salt in your wound at the hospital while the cops guard in your room. You got to see what I've seen, look where I've looked, touch what I've reached, to take what I took. You got to go where I've gone, walk where I walk, to get where I'm at, to speak what I talk.
Friday
You got
Night
to
Live,
play
ain't no
where I
job.
played,
I'm
stay
your
where I
host,
stayed,
Pastor David.
play where I played,
Y'all
to
come on
make
in.
what I made. You got to move
We got
what
a
I
real
move.
live show tonight.
Use what I use.
It's All Out Friday, and ain't nobody
I
secret.
use the truth. Every time I
But we gonna
step in
tell
the
you the
booth, I
truth.
speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you. I bring the truth. DC. Y'all know who I be. I be the truth. What I speak, self set you free. The truth. Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you. I bring the truth. DC. Y'all know who I be. I be the truth. What I speak, self set you
Friday
free.
night, TECNTV.com. And I'm your host, Pastor David. And I want to welcome y'all to come on in, y'all, and y'all grab a brew or two or whatever that you do, a glass of wine. It's prime time, and let us get into the truth zone one time. Come on.
Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
On the bridge.
No justice, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. Muhammad Ali has just refused to be inducted into the United States Armed Forces.
The Biden administration is opening new ways for thousands of people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela
Look at the
to
new
legally
black
enter
people.
the country.
Is necessary by any means necessary to protect
Let's
his
get
life
ready
and
to
property,
rumble!
especially in a country where the federal government itself has proven that it is either unable or unwilling to protect the lives and property of those human beings.
Global, universal, and coming from the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. Now it's time to let the truth be told with David Lowery.
Y'all, come on. Friday Night Live, TNTV.com. I'm your host. I voted for him. And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. And I'm your host, Pastor David. And I want to welcome everybody to, man, we got a great show. It's already started popping off in the green room. I got Mr. Binky on the show tonight. But first, let me give all praises to God and my Lord and Savior, Yahshua, which is Jesus Christ. And I want to welcome all the American people and patriots across this country to the show. It's Friday, y'all. It's time to let our hair down and get a little weekend in. But first, let us get the truth of the news to you. So this is what's happening. See, this is exactly what we have been talking about. Myself and Mr. Binky have been talking about the two differences of the books of justice when it comes to the American people and the politicians. If you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, the book of justice is not the same for everybody, okay? Especially in the Black community. I know a lot of Black brothers who are sitting up in jail right now for the same crime a white person committed who went home from the court proceedings. See, it has always been that way. When you start talking about the justice system, every Black man I know cringe. He don't want to be there, and if he gets there, he better have a real good lawyer to represent him. And so the reason and where I'm going is this. A lot of people think that it's a difference when it comes to politicians. It always has been a rule of thumb that politicians been able to get away with whatever they feel that they can and didn't have to own up or be accountable for the things that they've done. So I'm saying that because there's a difference even when it comes to politicians. Now, I have to say this. Ex-President Trump was accused of keeping documents. Well, they raided his mansion at Mar-a-Lago, and they went in and they got documents out of the place which he legally could have. He was the president of the United States. So he was allowed to get documents and put them in places where he could be able to research them later or whatever that he wanted to do because he had that privilege as the president. Barack Obama took documents that he never was held accountable for. Bill Clinton took documents, thousands of them, and he never was held accountable before, or was he ever charged. Hillary Clinton stole documents and destroyed all the evidence in the emails before that she could get convicted, and she still got away with the crime. Now here we go with Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States. He had no business taking documents when he was the vice president of Barack Obama. Now, doing this investigation, we've already know, the American people and patriots across this country already know, that Joe Biden is nothing but a liar, a pedophile, and a thief. He's been stealing the taxpayer dollars for over 50 years. He has been getting money out of this country as if it was his own bank. And now here we are, somehow, in some way that we do know, that they stole an election in 2020 to put him in office to be a puppet for the Democratic Party. And I'm talking about a real puppet. See, a lot of people don't really understand it's not Joe Biden running this country. It is not. It's Barack Obama and the Hillary Clinton and all the rest of them, especially Hillary Clinton, because she couldn't even win a race if they gave it to her. She was unqualified, just like Barack Obama was unqualified to be the president of the United States. But he was a puppet because they wanted him in because that's how they was able to control black folks. Barack Obama had black folks fighting each other, talking about this the first black president, give him a chance. And after the first black president was put into office of these United States, black people was in a worse state of affairs than they was before he was elected. All Barack Obama did was allow Joe Biden to steal documents and create laws for the homosexuals, protect law enforcement after they kill black people, that they could get away with it. And so here we are right now. 2020 election, Joe Biden steals something else, steals the election, gets in the office, lies to the American people and say, I will never do nothing. I won't mandate shots. I won't do nothing but what I'm supposed to do. Y'all just let Uncle Joe get in. Through technology, lying and stealing, ballot harvesting, dead people voting from the cemetery, fraternities and sororities who captured the polls, the polling places throughout Chicago and the country, throwing away votes because of Kamala Harris, the knee padder, and they stole an election. But here we are in a juncture coming up to 2020, and the American people have woke up, especially black people. Black people, how y'all like Joe now? How y'all like Joe? Remember when Joe told you, you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe? He told you he didn't want no niggers going to school with his children and created the crime bill and put brothers in jail. And he never got them out of jail. It was Donald Trump who filed the First Step program, and black men was able to come home. So I'm saying to the American people and patriots across this country, especially black people, they made a damn fool out of us for over 60 years. And now it's like they're pissing on our heads and telling us it's raining outside with all the migrants here. And when they told us they didn't have any money for reparations and told us to sit down and just wait your turn. That's what the Democrats told you. That's what Barack said. Black people didn't need no reparations. And here we are in 2024. Our communities are inundated with aliens. They're committing crimes. They're stealing. They're killing people. And the government, even though they're here illegally, have continued to take the taxpayer dollars and give them people from over 180 countries there here in the United States. After Donald Trump begged that the borders be closed and the Democrats said no, and once Joe got in, he opened the borders. And to the American people and patriots across this country, look at us. We don't know who's over here. We got soldiers over here. We got engineers over here. We got people from North Korea here. We got people from Syria. We got people from Venezuela. Over 180 countries have sent people here. And they're just not coming here to work. They're coming here to destroy this country. To the American people and patriots across this country who are watching this show, we better get prepared. Now, all of a sudden, you hear Joe Biden talking about, hey, I think it's the Republicans' fault that the borders ain't closed. Not only is he a damn liar, but he's a senile damn liar on top of it. And in saying that, I got to bring my co-host in, man. He's on fire tonight. Let me get him in here. Mr. Binky, how you tonight?
Hi, Dad. Yeah. Yeah.
Bink, we met 3 or 4 years ago, right? We've been doing this show almost 4 years now. And everything that you and I have said have come true about the Bidens, how the country with COVID, everything was true about the shot, how they was experimenting drugs on people. Everything that you heard on Let the Truth Be Told, mainstream media never spoke or said a word about it to warn the American people about what was happening. But we was here to let our people know that what the truth was, and now that y'all see that we were telling the truth, our eyes are open to this, what's happening in this country, and what's happening in this country is an attack on the American people and patriots across this country, and we must address that. So, Mr. Binky, you're on the show tonight. Let's talk a little bit about this whole thing with the documents. You know, President Trump was accused of taking documents when he legally could take them, and Joe Biden stole them under Barack Obama, had over 1,800 boxes. Talk about the difference that you see what's going on, and the American people should be aware of this. And when this special prosecutor came back, let's talk about that. Go ahead, Mr. Binky.
Well, the first thing is I want people to get on YouTube and look up the White House briefing for today. And I want them to listen to this briefing from the White House to see just how ridiculous, how incompetent, and how phony the Democratic Party is, the people that are speaking for them, how phony the committee was that was investigating Biden. I'm telling you, it wasn't 1 minute into listening to this guy talk that you couldn't tell this whole thing was a sham. Now, I got the 300 and some odd pages of this investigation they did. And I got some stuff here that's spotted. But the special counsel, Robert Hur, said at the time, they're not finding no criminal charges. There was none warranted. Okay? We concluded that the evidence does not establish Mr. Biden's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Wait a minute. Guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, but he had the documents the same way Trump had the documents, and Trump was legal.
And he was vice president at the time.
Yes. He stole them.
Also, those documents were not only in his house, they were in his garage, and they were down in, what did they call it, Chinatown?
Yes.
Okay. Those are unsecured locations, but in their report, they talk about that these documents were in either locked or cabinets that could be locked. Okay.
Wait a minute. Now, you remember, Mr. Binky, when Joe Biden said this, he said, yeah, I got the documents. They're out there in the garage in my Corvette. Remember that?
Yes, and his garage was locked.
Yeah.
You could lock the garage. Oh, okay. Now, mind you now, these are while he's vice president.
He stole them all while he was vice president. Exactly.
If you steal a car and the car's sitting in your driveway, the police come up and say, that car is stolen. It's sitting on your lot at your house. How is it that you're not guilty of stealing that car? At least an investigation in a court hearing to decide if that car was in your possession or not. The papers were in his possession.
Yes.
He didn't have authorization. They were unsecured. Now, I listened, and this was uncanny to me, as listening to lamestream media ask this question. Right now, Donald Trump is facing the same charges as this investigation over Biden that you just concluded. Biden, there is no beyond reasonable doubt to prosecute him. So how does this apply to Trump? Oh, altogether different. All they said was, I suggest you read the report. Well, here we go. Let's read the report.
Yes, sir.
Some of the report. I'm just spotting this now.
Okay.
They already concluded that Biden had confidential papers.
Yep.
They already concluded and admitted they were in his garage. They were in or not in what could be locked or were locked cabinets. Okay. So he's got confidential documents that he shouldn't have.
Because he got them when he was the vice president.
When he was vice president. Well, now let's get into the excuses for him. All right. Special counsel and Biden's memory here. Now, I'm just spotting what this report is because
and you said that too.
Pardon me?
You know what? And you're so correct. They look for excuses on why Biden had those documents when they should have kept the same rule of thumb and went right and arrested him just like they did Trump and Mar-a-Lago. The same thing. But to the American people, the patriots, we can see the difference right now, how the Democrats continue to break the law and they support each other against American citizens and other Republicans who aren't part of their group. Go ahead, Mr. Vicky, read that.
Okay, now here we go. This is the good part now. Prosecutors said it was possible that Mr. Biden would present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory.
Okay, so stop right there right quick. Okay, so the special counsel concluded that Joe Biden, if they charged him, would come off to a jury who could convict him as if he is an old man with a bad memory. Is that what they're actually saying?
Well, what I would probably put it as is if they presented this and the fact that the committee said that he had senile. He is senile.
Yep.
The jury wouldn't convict him. That's what I'm taking it as. So they're using that as an excuse and not prosecuting him too.
Exactly.
You know? All right. Here, the description of Biden's memory in the final report. Office said that the report special counsel accept the other witnesses' memory losses. So what they said is, oh, well, people, how can I put it? People make mistakes, you know. People do things that they don't really I mean, this whole, if you listen to this press conference today, all it was excuses. There was no accountability. It was excuses, right?
Yes.
Here's something else.
Trump. Wait, why are you saying that? I want the American people to really, really pay attention to this. Joe Biden stole the documents under Barack Obama because, you know, the Oversight Committee have already found out that they created 20 shell companies with the Ukraine, with Chinese, and all sorts of other countries that Joe has been taking money from. And those documents. Now let's talk about the documents for a minute. If Barack Obama is the president of the United States, and he is the only one who has access to those documents and records, how did Joe Biden steal the code on how to get the documents? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. How did he steal these documents unless Barack Obama gave him the code to get the documents?
Or Obama gave them to him.
Or Obama gave them to him.
Or
Joe, go ahead.
Biden just went ahead and took them.
Either way, they were stolen and they were taken illegally. And not only that Joe Biden should be held accountable for that, Barack Obama should be held accountable for he allowed his vice president to steal documents that he wasn't supposed to have. And now, to add insult to the injury, you're saying now that this special counsel has deemed Joe Biden incompetent. He has a memory problem. He will be seen as a daunting old man, and people will have sympathy for him. So if
But
this
he be
person,
president.
that's where I'm going, because if this person can see that and say that Joe is too old, he doesn't have a good memory, he has Alzheimer's, to the American people and patriots across this country, how the hell is he running this country when he has Alzheimer's and everybody know that he does, Mr. Binky?
But wait a minute now. We know, as the Democrats said, Trump can't be a president because he's mean. He talks mean to people. That was an excuse of theirs. Oh, he don't reflect what government is by the way he talks and blah blah blah. If people watch this White House briefing today, enough said. When you listen to that, it's ridiculous to think that these people were standing in front of a camera in front of millions of people, that they were telling the truth. There's no way. Even the lamestream media was sitting there going, they were like, what, wait a minute. My question. And then this spokesman, her or whatever his name was, he would deflect and start talking a bunch of nonsense.
Well, you know what? That is part of the way the Democrats are even able. You know that the White House press secretary, that Jean Pierre, whatever her name is, she never answered direct questions. She's always flexing off. And see, this is a pattern that the Democrats use, never to ask direct questions. They've taught Brandon Johnson the same thing. They asked him a question, Mr. Johnson, you said that you were going to be able to help the Black community and all of that. Then he started talking about a race, a road race, or something that has nothing to do with the question that was asked. And so, to the American people and patriots across this country, this is another way. And I'm hoping that people watching this show use your common sense to know that we're dealing with a bunch of crooks, liars, crooks, pedophiles. They are totally frauds. They do not love this country. The Democrats have shown it. And listen to this, Mr. Binky. This is how bad, and this is how open the borders are. They have 3 ways to get to the United States. If you pay a bunch of money, you take less risk. If you go to the medium risk, you pay a little money. But if you go to the place where you got to go to the jungle and you could get killed, now you can get killed in either one of these routes, then you can get through that way. But the point that I'm making is when they get through those areas, the Red Cross, the United Nations are sitting there with cell phones, a debit card with money, or a card with money on it, and then they push them on across the border in their secret places, and then they come to America. And that's how wicked that the Democrats have been done to open our borders and let people infiltrate this country who hate us. And now we're just like the Trojan horse. Mr. Binky.
What you brought up, what's her name? Jean Claude, Jeannie Claude, whatever.
I don't know what it was.
Whatever her spokesman, whatever her name is. After this guy was up there lying through his teeth, and that's all he did was lie through his teeth, she got up there before she opened her mouth up. Her eyes were going back and forth like, boy, what do I do now? How do I start this? I mean, I'm going to get bombarded with these News Corps people about the same nonsense questions or answers that this Ben-Hur, whatever his name is. She was like, what am I going to do now?
So basically
she was perplexed.
Yeah. But so basically this is what they've done. They said Joe Biden was incompetent and the reason why he stole the document. So that means that Joe being incompetent way under Barack Obama. And so by him being incompetent, that it was okay for him to steal them and go free. So my question is, what was the difference? What did Donald Trump do Is it because it's because he's Donald Trump? It wasn't because of that. The Democrats are after him, and Joe signed off on that. Go ahead, Mr. Binky.
Here's the difference, and that rung a bell with me. That her guy, whatever, the spokesman, the fraud, the liar, he said, getting to the end of his babbling, that the difference is Biden turned over all his papers back to him. Therefore, there is no reason to prosecute him. He gave them all back. Now, remember, things were sitting out in the garage for how many years?
At least 10 years.
Nobody knew anything about them until somebody took a picture and said, "What's this?"
Immediately, he should have been arrested. That place should have been raided. And just the same thing they should have did like they did Trump and Mar-a-Lago. They should have done that. But the people seeing that, I just think that the American people and patriots across this country, we're seeing with our own eyes how the Democrats have destroyed this country, and now they are making a sham. They're making a sham of us and how they're stealing our money and lying and opening the borders, and we got aliens over here and crime, and the economy is tore up. We got, hey, Mr. Binky, just check this out. You don't hear no more much about the Ukraine war, do you? You don't hear a lot about it. Like the news was killing it. The Ukraine war, every day they were talking about the Ukraine war. Now that they're not getting that money no more, you don't hear too much, do you?
Well, Tucker Carlson kind of put a little bit tighten the lid on that, maybe on his interview with Putin.
Oh yeah, really? What did Mr. Putin say?
Well, Mr. Putin, and summing it up, it was about 2 hours, I think that interview was. Basically, if I were to put it this way, Putin said that we could end the war in a few weeks if the United States quit funding and threatening. Something was brought up about the propaganda about nuclear war breaking out, World War III, and the destruction of the world because of Russia and all this. If I'm going to sum it up, it's going to say Putin was basically open to negotiations. He gave out the terms to have these negotiations.
Yes, he
did. He is willing to end the war. And basically, he's going, stop the propaganda that Russia, is willing to destroy the world with nukes.
Well, you know what, Mr. Binky? That is the premise. That's the narrative that the Democrats have been using, because it was America who started the war against Russia. It wasn't Russia.
Well, it's America that's involved in all kinds of wars.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Since we've been in the United States, we've been in one kind of war or conflict for over 230 years.
And it seems like it's always when the Democrats get in office, the threat of war is always realistic. That's how it always been. Because we didn't have a war under Trump. There was no fighting. Russia wasn't having this problem or nothing. But see, it was the United States with the Ukraine because, see, Zelensky been coming over here to the American people and patriots across this country. The only reason why the Ukraine war was going on was because Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, them, they've all purchased a lot of land in the Ukraine. That's what this is about. That's why their children was over there. And so they needed a war to wash the money through. And if you remember, that was a Ukrainian prosecutor who was about to expose Joe Biden them for doing what they was doing, and they ended up getting him fired, and Joe was talking a bunch of crap about it. So this war, the Ukraine war, was a political war that was started to rob the United States taxpayers of money. The war has not ended because we got American troops over there fighting, using all this equipment. They're basically keeping the war going. As long as they was getting money out of it, they kept it going, and it was in the forefront of the media. And now all of a sudden that the money is drying up, they started a new war with Israel, And now they're washing the money through there, study begging money from the Congress to give to the Ukraine and Israel. And all of it is taxpayers' dollars. And these wars will never end as long as they keep funding them. Mr. Binky.
Well, you know, and another thing that needs to be looked at are these conflicts being declared? I mean, our Constitution tells us how wars are declared. We didn't create our military for global security. We created it for the United States and the people's security. So, are these wars declared? Are they legitimate wars? No, they're not. They're policing actions. They're conflicts. And it's costing us not only our money, but our families, friends' lives.
Yes.
For what? For what? Protecting somebody else's democracy, as they claim. Okay? This War Power Act stuff that gives them the power to get in conflicts with other countries under the guise that we're protecting democracy, but then they come back and say, well, they're protecting our freedoms. While our freedoms are being destroyed daily by the Democratic Party, whether it's your speech, your religion, what you do, it don't matter. All our rights are being violated daily. And now they've weaponized the legal system. And as Trump said, as Trump told us, they're not just coming after me, they're coming after you too. And that's what they're doing. They're coming after the people. Now they want to come up with a group to a government organization to decide what's misinformation.
And
now they want to use AI, artificial intelligence now.
You know, that AI, and to the listeners across the country watching this show, I know everybody is having cell phone problems. Everybody's cell phone is acting crazy. It's turning on. It's calling people. When people call you, you can't answer the call. It is all this new system that they put into place so that they can monitor us and continue to track us at a whole nother level. But this whole thing with it, and I have to say this to Mr. Binky, this whole thing with the migrant thing in the Black community, I want to talk about that for a minute while we got some time. See, it was the Democratic Party that created this whole border thing because they know they stole the 2020 election. They didn't have the numbers, nor were they able to come up with the bodies. That's why they went to the polls. They used different people in the polls to throw away ballots. The polls were here in Illinois, was mandated right here in Illinois, especially in the Chicago area. It was mandated by most of the people with fraternities and sorority brothers and sisters who were sitting in the polls in Illinois with Biden-Harris shirts on. They had signs, and I'm talking about in the polling place, all inside the polling places. They were breaking laws. They were throwing votes away. They were stealing. They was lying. These are other Black people. These are the elite Black people. They were stealing. They were lying. And all the stuff that they did to help Joe Biden them get in has only been a detriment to the Black community. And I want to say this. I'm not saying it just to be saying it, because I can tell you this. I heard it from one of the brothers that I know mouths say, damn, man, Trump is messing our money up. So Black people, let me tell you where your money is going right quick. And I'm going to let Binky touch on this. See, the problem that's in the Black community now is there are two groups. There's the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro consider those representatives and state people who belong to these fraternities and sororities. This is 100% for sure. And what we have to do, if you think I'm lying, in a little while, I'm going to start pulling records. Oh, by the way, Mr. Binky, the Heritage House Foundation is coming to Chicago to install me as the election fraud investigator for the state here. And so all the stuff that we saw in the last 4 years ago, when they was wearing all that stuff inside the polls and lying and cheating and stealing, if you do it this year, frat brothers and sisters, I'm going to send your ass to jail, because I will man every poll throughout this state, and every poll throughout the United States are going to be manned with people who are going to be investigators watching the polls. But the problem in the Black community is we have these people in these secret organizations who have their people in the state legislators. They're running down to Springfield. They're being lobbyists, and they're getting all the money that's supposed to come to the Black community, and the money is not getting to the Black community. It is being siphoned off, and that money is being given to different sororities and fraternity groups that are friends or frat brothers and sisters to the state reps and the state senators. That Black people, that's where your money going. That's why you're not seeing any money coming to your community, because they're cutting the money off and they're kicking the money back to the state reps and to the state senators who belong to their organization. So I'm telling you, it's because of the house Negro and the field Negro situation that we're in this mess, because it's our own people who don't want to be Black who are getting the money and keeping the money, and the money is never, ever making it to the Black community. And if they were true about helping the Black community, we wouldn't be in this condition. Your thoughts, Mr. Binky?
Well, yeah, and you got a way of getting out of it too. You got the option here. If people in Chicago, and I mean this sincerely, if the people in Chicago are tired of what this mayor's doing, especially the Black community, you got the option to recall that mayor. And if the people in Chicago are that tired of it, it ain't going to be a problem to recall this mayor.
Well,
but that's going to send a message around the country. Once people start understanding that they can get rid of this corruption, then maybe there'll be less of it.
Well, to the American people and patriots across this country, especially the people here in the state of Illinois, a couple of days ago, we filed a paper to invoke the sheriff. We're going to talk about that. See, folks, the sheriff in everybody's state is not an employee of the state, nor is he an employee of the city of Chicago. See, Tom Dart has sworn his oath to uphold the Constitution as a sheriff. So the sheriff does not anything that violate constitutional rights, that the sheriff can tell the mayor of Chicago, hold up, wait a minute, Brandon Johnson. You are violating federal law. This is the power of the sheriff. The sheriff, people listen, I'm telling you, the sheriff can stop all of this tomorrow. The sheriff in your county can end the sanctuary city immediately by invoking his powers to protect the laws of the Constitution. And that's what he swore that he would do, protect the Constitution. And if the Constitution rights of the American people are being violated, the sheriff can step in and say, there's no more sanctuary city. He can tell J.B. Pritzker, JB, it ain't no more sanctuary state. This is the laws by the Constitution. I'm not just saying this. He can stop both of them and say, I'm going to call, because you are breaking federal laws, which are in the Constitution, you're breaking constitutional laws, I'm going to invoke my power. We can shut this whole alien thing down. He can call immigrations, ICE. They can come in and start moving these people out of the United States immediately. And so a couple of days ago, we invoked the sheriff to use his power. We sent information to Tom Dart stating that we want him to step up, do institution, and call Chicago no longer a sanctuary city, call ICE and have them to start deporting these people out because they are breaking federal immigration laws. He can call J.B. Pritzker and say, JB, the jig is up. To everybody watching this show, your sheriff has the power to stop it tomorrow. All you have to do, send him the paperwork and invoke his power to stop it. Mr. Binky, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean that's a sheriff is constitutionally instated. He's voted in by the people, and if he ain't doing his job, and here again we're going to go back to what we've been talking about for 3-4 years now. If the people are not understanding how the proper role of government is, how government's supposed to work, or how the sheriff is supposed to work, then they do whatever they want. And that's what we're looking at today. You're looking at government and the sheriffs that are doing whatever they want. And so now if the people start understanding and learning, when the sheriff ain't doing his job, you get rid of the sheriff.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't vote them back in. And when these sheriffs start understanding, look, these people are not ignorant to the law no more. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by the law is what the Constitution, that's supreme law. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay. When they understand that the people are not ignorant to what their job is, then they're going to start doing it. And that's the same way with the politician. If the politicians are sitting there, and that's a typical politician, they run their mouth, oh, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. But then when I get in office, I don't do it. See, this is why the recall process.
And Mr. Binky, I'm so glad that you spoke about the recall process because, you know, Chris Ann Hall, who is probably one of the top constitutional lawyers in the country, she drafted up a brief that we sent to Sheriff Dart, giving him the information, giving him other cases where sheriffs have had to step in and end the sanctuary city crap. And so we're looking to hear back from Tom Dart on when we could get together and work the log justice out so that he can invoke his power and shut down Chicago as a sanctuary city. He has the power to do that. Y'all folks listen to me out here in Chicago area. Your sheriff is the one that can end all of this. And that's the thing about for the lack of knowledge. See, as long as the American people did not know that they could make the sheriff do this, then that's why they were so comfortable and not wanting people to know how to stop it. See, people, it's simple. We used the laws that was on the books to stop the foolishness. So now that y'all know the sheriff can shut down the sanctuary city, they can call ICE and have them to deport everybody, and you don't have to go to the city council to put nothing on the ballot. All you have to do is go to your sheriff, invoke the powers, and tell him what he got to do, and he has to respond. If he doesn't respond, then he opened himself up for a lawsuit because now he can be sued once he responds, whichever way. If he come back and say, you know what, I'm going to invoke my powers and we're going to shut it down, that's fine. But if he doesn't come back and say that and go along with the program, then you have grounds to sue him for him not doing his job and not upholding the Constitution, which he swore on the Bible that he would do. So there are ways that the American people can offset what we're seeing with the government. Now, I want to say something that you touched on. To the people here in Chicago, see, we have to understand one thing. Brandon Johnson has broke all the laws. He has not represented the people of Chicago. He has not done anything that he said to make this city run smoother, but he has continued to break federal laws like bringing the immigrants in here. He continued to break the taxpayer backs by giving up tax dollars to these people. You know, he continued to underrepresent the people of Chicago. And so I did some research to the people of Chicago. We can recall Brandon Johnson. We can start a petition, which we're getting it drafted up now. We can start a petition. We can get it drafted up. We can get it to the election board. And after we file it with the election board, we got so many hours to get so many people to sign the petition. We're going to start a petition to recall Brandon Johnson for derelict of his duties as the mayor of Chicago. Brandon, I know you got people listening, but we finna come for you. You ain't did your job. You're no more than a liar and a thief. And you cannot represent Chicago any longer with the lies and all the stuff that you've done to get in office. You trick people, got in office, I'm a black man. You're a black man that hate black people. Because if you didn't hate black people, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing with the aliens and finding money to take care of illegal people who are not even citizens in this country. You just put another $150 million in the budget for the illegals, but not one penny to help the homeless people in Chicago. Brother, that petition is going to be started, and I know I can get plenty of signatures. You are going to face a recall. Mr. Binky?
Yeah. I just, for 3-4 years, and I got to keep saying this, the people are the ones with the power.
Yes.
And the Declaration tells us that all men, that's not white man. Now, I mean, for how many decades now, it's always been the white man's law, the white man. It's not about the white man. It doesn't say the white man. It says all men and women. Men is including women. That we created government to protect our rights of life, liberty, and happiness. And when you decide to figure out that if you learn how the role of government is supposed to be, you're going to be able to hold them accountable. And when you start speaking up instead of sitting back and being silent, then they're going to change. They've got to change. And when the process is there to be able to get rid of them, when you say, I've had enough, and enough of you get together to say, we've had enough, then you're going to force this change. And this ain't got to do with just helping out the white guy or the black guy or the Asian guy or the Latino guy. This is everybody, because this affects everybody. Like I said, Trump said, if they're coming after me, they're coming after you.
And let me say this. Go ahead, Mr. Mickey. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me say this to the American people and patriots across this country. Let us get past the party, okay? Let us put down the Democrats, put that away. Put the Republicans away, okay? Now, here we are. Let us do the right thing. See, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. They supposed to do the right thing. And see, that's where we have to be at. We know what we see right now in the condition of the country. This is not a righteous thing. It's not righteous. So we, the people, we have to be able to make sure that the right thing is done in order for us to move forward. And to the American people and patriots across this country, we already know that neither one of these parties is going to be 100% for what they're supposed to do. But as the American people, we thrive on righteousness. If we do the right thing, we can change the dynamics in this country, because right follows right. When you do wrong, wrong follow it. Just like Barack Obama, when he did wrong and created the law against God and said marriage between man and a man, that was wrong. And look at all the wrong that has followed him ever since that happened. And so to the American people, let us not worry about the party. Let us do the right thing that is good for this country and for our government. Mr. Binky?
Yeah. Well, I mean, stop to look who's living their American dream now. It's not the people. It's the politics. It's the government. I mean, how many $1 million homes does the Obamas have now? 2, 3 of them?
Man, they got them. And you know what, man?
Look at Nancy Pelosi and all these politicians in the federal government. Now they're multimillionaires off of $179,000 salary. Now they're worth multi-millions. How is this happening? We're not living an American dream now. There's so many laws out there. There's so many regulations. There's so many statutes and codes and all this stuff. We're not living free. None of it.
And they have the nerve to keep talking about Trump is trying to destroy democracy. Hell, democracy was destroyed when Joe got in the office and started mandating against our rights.
And look what they're doing to Trump. They're going after him. What was that gal that allegations about him raping her in a department store? $83 million settlement? This ain't about a crime that he did. This is about trying to break him.
Exactly.
Everything, every lawsuit that's going after him has a dollar figure on it to break him.
Yes, that's what it is. And I'm hoping that, excuse me, I'm hoping that especially Black people, man, because we need to understand one thing. And you know, some of my activist colleagues out here, you're talking about Mark Carter and Devin Jones and P. Ray and all of them, they're pushing the envelope, talking about turning the state red. And all of us have a role to play in this whole thing. And I appreciate what they're doing. But, you know, where I'm at is I'm dealing with legal things. You're not going to see me jumping up, hollering out everywhere. I don't do that. I'm working behind the scenes to create legal situations to make change. And that's why I know the paperwork, the brief that we sent to Sheriff Dart are making him aware of his duties to the American people is going to make a change. That's what we're trying to do. I know that the petition that we're preparing to get signatures for and file it with the election board to have Brandon Johnson recalled, that's what we need to do. Those are the things that I'm doing. So, you know, all of y'all keep doing what you're doing. And in a minute, all the work that we're doing is going to culminate. And we're going to bring some change to Chicago. So y'all keep doing what y'all doing. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. But remember this, we all on the same page because we all want the same thing. We want equality. We want justice. I'm talking about all Americans. We want the same thing. We want our neighborhoods back. We want our schools back intact. We want our economy back. We want to be able to roll down the street and do what we was doing 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Living the American way of life of prosperity and integrity and honesty. At least the American people had that in their minds. But now we know that that is nothing that is a part of America's dream right now, and the American dream is almost dead. Mr. Binky, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the American dream today consists of what government allows us to have. That's bottom line. They want to tell us what kind of cars. They want to tell us what kind of energy to use in our homes. I think Chicago is even talking about creating an ordinance that any new buildings and homes being built cannot have natural gas lines put in it. Are you kidding me? If the people can't see how stupid and ridiculous and incompetent this is, this is what I'm saying is it's not government's job to tell us what to buy, what to live with, what to use. That's not their job. Their job is to make sure we've got access to whatever we want. It don't matter what you do. It ain't my concern. What I do is not your concern. But it's government's job to make sure you got what you need and I got what I need, period. That's it. So
well, the government works for us. The government works for the American people.
But doggone, you turn on the lamestream TV, they want you to, well, when you see such and such, thank them for their service. Thank them for their job. Thank them for this. Thank them for that. Consider this. They're doing this. They're doing that. Well, would you do their job? Wait a minute. I worked on school buses. I had the responsibility of up to 60 kids on a bus that if I screwed up, those 60 kids were in danger because of me. Where's this little banner flying around on Facebook? Well, thank your mechanic and thank your mom and thank your dad. Thank the electrician. We're just so indoctrinated. We're groomed to think that we're the lowlifes and everybody else that's paid by public dollars is all above us. We've got to stop thinking that way. We are the leaders of this country. We are the most important people. And we've got to make sure that the people that are working for us as public servants are doing what they're supposed to be doing to make sure our dream comes true.
And you know what, Mr. Binky, you are so right, because it's just simple, man. The American dream is one that we was taught in school about how we could come to be in America and it was the greatest country in the world where you could get fame, you could get money, you could do whatever you wanted to do as long as you did it within the laws, okay?
But you
And
know
that,
what you hear, Dave? You know what you hear?
go
All
ahead.
these tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegals coming in here. The first thing you hear is the violin breaking out. These people are just coming here to live the American dream. What about our dream? Our dreams are controlled. We're
Yes.
regulated and governed. But now they make excuses of flooding our country with people they don't know where they're from, why they're here. They're not even being vetted no more.
Right.
They're giving court dates 10 years from now. Hold on. Who
Well,
is actually living their American dream?
so check this out, man. How is it that in New York there were 7 aliens, illegals, who jumped on the cops, beat the cops bad, and then they ran back off to their country? See, when you got undocumented people in here, they can commit crimes and you never can track them because you have nothing to track them with.
Yep.
And
But they got indictments against them.
What's that?
New York put out indictments against them.
Yeah, but did they get them yet?
Not that I know of. I don't know.
Well, the point is, why did Alvin Bragg, who are trying to get Trump on some damn charges, why did he fight to let them go? He let them out after they beat police officers up. If that had been black men who jumped on the police in New York, those black men would have been dead already. They would have killed them. There wouldn't have been no you going downtown somewhere hiding out. No, those black men would have lost their lives at the station. That's what would have happened. So to the American people of patriots across this country, we have to stay vigilant. We have to stay strong. And we really got to go to the polls. We got to watch the polls, because now that they know that we know that they cheated, because it's all coming out. Look at Arizona, all that. Look at Wisconsin. All the cheating is coming out now. And they knew that. That's why they cheated to win the election, to get in office, to destroy the country. And now all of a sudden, all this stuff is coming out that they did 3 years ago, which was illegal. So if we don't pay attention, if we don't go to the polls, and if we don't have poll watchers making sure that these elections and all the election rules are being followed for the polling places, they're going to try to steal another election. Mr. Binky, your last words. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier. We got to understand who the leaders are in this country. It's not government, it's the people. And the people have got to everybody's got to take some time here. A half an hour a day, 15 minutes a day, and start looking up what the role of government is, because you got to learn what they're supposed to be doing, because they don't care what they do no more. And because they don't care, we're losing our freedoms, and we're the ones that we're turned into slaves. That's all there is to it. Taxes, regulations, whatever. So learn what the proper role of government is. Understand that you got the power to make sure that they're doing their job. You just got to learn how to do it.
Mr. Beaky, I want to thank you, man. I hope every Friday when you got some time, you can come on here and bring that fire like you bringing, brother. And we're going to keep it going, because the American people need to know the truth. We'll talk soon, brother. Thank you so much for showing up. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want you to share it around. These are my last words. And man, it's just a shame the condition that we're in. If the American people and patriots across this country cannot see that the country is going in the wrong direction, we got 2 books of justice. We got a president that's in office that's too old and incompetent to really run the country. They're study making excuses for him when he break the law. He should already be in prison with all the stuff going on at the White House, with the documents, with the cocaine, the Hunter Biden, and all the tapes, the money been stole. All of these things are well documented, and Joe Biden and the Democratic Party still continue to do these things. So it is up to us, the American people. This is our country. They're using our tax dollars. They're destroying our schools. They've already destroyed the country. that destroyed the economy. We got 3 wars going. We got aliens that have invaded our country. Everything that could lead to the destruction of a country, we have inside the American borders right now. Just like Rome, just like the Chow dynasty. All these great dynasties failed because the failure of the infrastructure. Once the inside of these great nations have been brought to a place where the people was put in a position not to have the power anymore, the entire nation failed. So to the American people and patriots across this country, we have a Trojan horse sitting in our borders. And those who do not know what the Trojan horse is, look up the Trojan horse. Then you will find out the position of this country. And it is not very good, because this country is in line and on a path of self-destruction. This country will be destroyed from within. God bless you. Y'all have a great weekend. Tune in, share it around, and continue to let the truth be told. Let the truth be told. It'll move your soul. I'll see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace.